Hi, this is Miss Lisa Danaë. I'm still Maggie, and it is a wonderful, wonderful time that I feel is about to happen today. All right, let's go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's give everyone all your socials and where we can find you on the internet.
Okay. My name is Lisa Danaë. I'm a pop recording artist and songwriter. My website is lisadanae.com, lisadanae.com, and then all of my social handles, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of that is Lisa Danaë Music.
I just followed you, and I don't really know why I haven't followed you earlier because I've known of you since last year.
I know. Same here.
I was like, what am I doing? Am I lazy? I don't know. No, because I've heard your music and I know about you. You know, it's like I'm like you're probably one of the main clients of his that I know about. By the way, we're both produced by my producer, John McLucas. For those of you who have not heard me talk about him all the time. So I'm always talking on my podcast.
I know. I always talk about him too. We should get like royalties for that.
Exactly. He's probably mentioned on like every other episode, and like I'm always just like tagging him and shit. But yeah, so he produces both of us, and I know Blue Mason, and I've met him, and I met Shauna, and that's about it. And I follow both of them. I just don't know what's wrong with me. So
okay.
It happens. It happens. It's a what's it called? A tornado? No, a black hole media. You know, it is. It really is. Like you just get lost.
For sure.
All right. So tell us your origin story. I want to know how you started as a singer and a musician, and the whole story of what brought your career, what brought you to your career as it stands today.
So I actually started singing pretty much when I was like 3 years old. I grew up heavily like Disney influenced, all those Disney sing-along VHS tapes. I had them, Disney movies. Basically I would line up my stuffed animals like in front of the TV and then stand on the couch and play those videos and just sing to my stuffed animals. And then Santa gave me a microphone and a boombox when I was 6. So I got that microphone and yeah, I just didn't want to put it down. So I've basically been extremely interested in music at a young age. My parents, made sure that I was well-rounded with the genres that I was listening to. I grew up listening to Michael Jackson, Queen, Toni Braxton, Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson, Etta James, Ella Fitzgerald. So really like wide range of music. And then I started playing piano at 7. I'm an only child, so I was very blessed and lucky to be able to do like any extracurricular activity that I wanted to. And yeah, piano was one of the first. And then I got really into like art and painting. I did figure skating for a while. I played violin for 6 years. Actually, I'm really sad that I don't play that anymore, but I used to be really good. And then I used to be really good at violin, and yeah, I just stopped because I actually wanted to play volleyball. So then I started focusing on volleyball and piano and singing. And I was in choir, like starting 4th grade, did that through college. I majored in music business in college. So music is just, oh really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I majored in music business. I went to a liberal arts school, like a very small liberal arts school in North Carolina, of all places. But it was really cool. I was in this group called the Vernaculars, which was just essentially kind of like a cover band. And I was a lead singer like my freshman year, and it was just an amazing experience. And yeah, choir in college was definitely really fun as well. We traveled like up and down the East Coast and just singing at amazing, beautiful venues and churches. So yeah, music has been in my life forever. My first recording studio experience was when I was 15.
Oh,
And
wow.
then in school or in college, I recorded my first album. Um, that one was released in 2009. It's a very long time ago. 10
Wow.
years ago. Oh my gosh, that was 10 years
Oh
ago.
my God, that's been
Holy crap. Yeah, so 2009 I released that, but that was more pop rock based. I was very into Paramore, so it had more of that feel to it. And then I kind of took a break from my own music and became a merch girl for a few years for bands. So I did Vans Warped Tour for a few years with different bands, and then some just regular tours as well. And then 2012 was actually when I decided to stop selling merch or being a merch girl and really wanted to focus on my own music. So then with that stuff, it was more pop based, more of what I originally wanted to do. Like when I was growing up, I've always wanted to be like a pop star. I think I was just going through like a phase and really had to find my sound. That really took a long time for me to find my sound. It honestly wasn't until last year that with Mick Lucas and then my co-writer, Jen, she helped me really find my sound. So that's kind of like the little backstory.
I love it's it's so interesting to hear like an evolution of, I think, dreams,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to figure that out, and you made a full circle, right, from the stuffed animals. You did. So it's not like that was in vain, you know. How did you find your co-writer? Did you know her from college, or?
No, so I work part-time at a restaurant in Pasadena, and we helped open the store actually. So she was actually one of my first friends, and I didn't really actually find out that she was into music or even was a songwriter maybe until I don't know, like a few months or 6 months in to us working together. But we were always just friends from training. And then I actually performed at Paul Martin's, and she was there. She was working. So she got to see me perform, and she was kind of like blown away. Like she just had no idea. Our extent of talking about music was just literally in passing or like random conversations, but neither of us kind of knew. I had no idea that she had all of these awards for songwriting or anything like that. So we didn't really connect with music until after she saw me perform. So that's where I met her. And then at the end of 2017 was when we started writing songs together. And I really had no idea what to expect. I just knew about all those awards. So I was extremely intimidated because I still kind of consider myself as a green songwriter. It's kind of hard for me to, I think I just overthink when it comes to writing actual lyrics. And that was something that she was able to help me with was, our when we write together, it's really like an interview. She'll just ask me questions, even if it's just like, how was your day today? And then I'm just telling her about my day, and she's just writing down words that really stick out to her. So she's a very gifted writer, and she's very good at translating my thoughts. So that helped me a lot with all the new stuff that I have been releasing last year, and then this year as well.
That's brilliant. Okay, so she just kind of helps you unpack um, your day to day and what maybe has happened, I guess, in your life. It just kind of gets it into that song format, into that,
Yeah.
okay, this feels like a song. Because,
Yeah, because
yeah.
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, no,
I
no.
was gonna say usually like yeah, usually like even if it's just about my day, like it'll end up, obviously our conversation will go off into a tangent, right? Like normal conversations do. So then it'll bring up something that may have been like eating at my mental capacity. So then, that ends up turning into the concept of the song. And then from there, we're able to write the full thing.
Absolutely. I've been looking for I have friend co-writers,
Mhm.
but it's so hard because you know, that it's not their job, you know, kind of for her, it's like her, like, this is like part of like what she like really, really does. And I think
Yeah.
that is just such a blessing for you. Um, and I remember John telling me that this, what you released with him last year, because I think we released it around the same time. But we were recording at the same time, I
Yeah.
think. And,
Yeah.
he said it was really, really, um, important to you, you know, when it came to like the things that you've like really been through. And I kind of want to get into that, talking about that journey of that album. Was it an album or EP?
It was an EP, but I
Okay.
ended up marketing everything as singles. Sorry, I'm already getting emotional just thinking about
Okay.
what we're
Okay,
going to be
let me
talking
know if
about.
it's
Sorry.
let me know if it's too much.
Oh, no, 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 it's fine. I want people to know, you know, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was
Okay. Yeah.
extremely important to me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just let you take over
Well,
a
yeah,
little bit.
we'll go through it we don't have to do it all at once. So I want to get into the meat and potatoes of what we talk about here on the podcast, what which I think possibly when you're talking about your EP, may segue into um, this. So my question is, was there ever a time in your life when you believed that your mind was made wrong, that you felt like something was just not, that something was wrong up there, and you and I want to know how you got beyond that, how you um how you went about the process of healing.
It really just it stems from 2016 was like really hard for me. I was in a 5-year relationship with someone that I just thought that this was it and that we were going to be forever or together forever. And I mean, our relationship was honestly probably should have ended like after 2 years or after 3 years because we were, you know, we had taken like, we took like maybe 2 or 3 breaks within our relationship and just needed like time away from each other. Um, I mentally checked out definitely like probably like 2015, like when I moved up to LA. I used to live, or I grew up in Southern Orange County. So when I moved up to LA in 2015, that's when I mentally checked in. But at that point, it was, you know, it was like comfortable, right? Um, his family knew my family. I knew his family. His family looked at me as a daughter. My family looked at him as a son. Um, and yeah, even like our extended families, we were all just extremely close. And um, we took a break in 2015, or I called for that break. And then I kind of knew like I didn't really want to be with him together, or I didn't want to be with him anymore. But then I don't know, I just got scared and I didn't want to break it off because I didn't want anyone to like judge me for breaking it off. So we got back together, and then 2016 we lived apart, and that just like I think ruined our relationship essentially. Like we barely saw each other. I was working a lot. He was producing and like trying to focus on that and get his career started as well. um, Also around the time that our breakup happened, which was in November of 2016, my parents started talking about getting a divorce. I think it was really hard because I will never forget a conversation that I had with, like, I have a core group of girlfriends from high school and we still keep in touch. And I remember maybe like a year or two before my parents started talking about divorce, someone in that group said, it really, I think it's so great that our parents are all still together because that's not common, right? A lot of, you know, a lot of parents end up getting a divorce once their kids, you know, grow older. And I remember when my friend said that, in my head, I was like, if anyone's parents are going to get a divorce, it's going to be mine. And then
Oh.
like a year later was when I started hearing that my parents weren't doing well, and that was like a strong thing, was that they were going to be separated. So I think those two things, they just like really hit me like really, really hard, because my relationship was breaking down. My parents' relationship was breaking down. I was still really struggling, obviously, like with music and like trying to make it my career, because that's all I've ever wanted in life. So I was really analyzing my life when all of this was happening. And I just really wanted my life to end. And I never told anyone until like recently, honestly, until I started writing. And so I started writing with Jen. Like I told her everything about my life for the last 2 years. I just really wanted to end my life. And when my parents found out that I even had those thoughts, obviously they're just like really like sad that I was that broken, and that just like I don't even know how to explain it, as far as what they kind of put me through, because in the beginning of when they're wanting to be separated and stuff, they're kind of putting that all on me, because I felt like I really had to pick sides.
Yeah.
And that made it extremely difficult. I have no one else. I'm an only child. I have no one else. I can't talk to a sibling about this. No one else like is dealing with this, So I think it just really, really hurt me. But what I really honestly, just to get out of it, I think I was just really lucky, because there wasn't a particular thing that kind of like woke me up from all of it. I just like I woke up one day and looked at myself in the mirror and was like, I can fucking do this.
Yeah.
And that's not common at all for anyone that goes through depression. And I don't know, I felt extremely unmotivated. I was extremely lost, especially after losing someone that I thought I was going to be with forever for 5 years. But I felt extremely lost. Like I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I depended on him way, way, way too much. And yeah, I don't know. I was extremely lucky to literally just wake up and look at yourself in the mirror, and to just be like, girl, like you can fucking do this. You don't need anyone to, you know, you don't need anyone. You can do this on your own.
I
So,
that is
yeah.
really rare. That is so rare, because
Yeah, and
there's
like I said, I don't even
yeah.
know. Yeah, I just woke up one day, so I don't know
Well,
what
what
it
words would
was.
you give to someone who would be going through the same thing?
Um, for me, it really was, I lost myself in that relationship. I think what hurt me was that he wanted to. My ex is he's a great guy. He really is. I don't want to like tarnish his name. He's a great guy. I think he always wants to be at the center of attention. So I think that's the reason why I lost myself. I don't necessarily always want to be the center of attention, but at the same time, when you have someone or a partner that wants to be the center of the attention all the time, that kind of means that you got to dwindle your personality.
Yeah.
I think that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, my advice as far as like getting out of that mental state of depression is, if you're in a relationship, rather, you really gotta make sure that you stay true to yourself in a relationship, because I think that is, I've noticed that when my friends are in relationships and they do lose themselves, or I feel like they're losing themselves and then they break up, I feel like they kind of go through what I went through, maybe not in the same way as far as wanting to, end your life, but still, you know, you're beating yourself up
Yeah.
ultimately. So if you are in a relationship and I would just say, like, really try to, stay true to yourself, and don't let your partner, like, I don't want to say have all the control, because he wasn't controlling, but
Don't become your partner. Don't become, yeah.
yeah,
Don't get sucked into, yeah.
don't lose your like, don't lose your light. Don't lose your
Yeah.
light.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I love
all. I
that.
guess that's really what I can say.
It's,
Because yeah, I think that really affected me when all of this was happening, was that I just felt like I lost myself in that relationship. So when I lost that relationship, and then I was losing also my parents, yeah, I think that's why I felt so, I was just like, well, I don't, who am I? Like, who am I? Like, I don't even know who I am anymore. And so then, yeah, you're starting to second guess yourself. And then, I was thinking, like, is anyone actually going to miss me, like, if I'm gone? So I think that's why I went into that mental state of
mhm.
wanting to leave this earth, as because, yeah, I was just like, is someone really actually going to miss me? Because I don't know who I am, you know?
Everyone was so wrapped up in their own, life, and you had their identity in them. So when that was falling apart, you had nothing to support
Yeah,
you, you know?
right.
Yeah. So that's very profound, and I'm so glad you were completely able to articulate that. That was just
Thanks.
so now I want to talk about the most significant struggle you face when it comes to the relationship um, with between your career and your mental health today.
So, yeah, I've been pursuing music for a very long time. It's With social media, it's very hard not to compare yourself to other people. Um, I like to say that I don't, but that's not true. Um, I'm even guilty of, obviously, we both love McLucas. Obviously, I'm jealous of everything that has come his way within the time that I met him.
Literally like the past year, dude.
Yeah, no, it's insane. Like, knowing when I met him, like, what was going on, and then to see him where he is now in like a year, literally a year, is amazing to me. But obviously, I am comparing myself to him, right? Because I knew him when
Yeah.
he was kind of really just starting out. So with social media, it's extremely difficult not to compare yourself with other people. I have obviously been trying to work on that, and I've definitely gotten better, I would say, as I've gotten older, because back in the day I would always compare myself with other female artists, and I'm just like, why? I don't understand, like, why they get to be doing what I want to do. Like, I feel like I'm better, blah blah blah. All those rude comments, like, but as I've gotten older, and as I've become more confident in myself and who I am, and really honestly not caring about what people think about me, um, that's how I've just, yeah, I've gotten better at trying not to compare myself with other people. I am extremely happy for Mick Lucas. I have to say that, because I feel like if someone sees this, they're gonna be like, oh, she's just, no, I'm extremely, trust me, like, this kid is a hustler, and he definitely deserves it. And I am definitely happy for other people that are like my friend Jen, who is a co-writer. She's starting to release her own music. She just She has new songs that she worked with McLucas on, and she's about to release her stuff, and I'm so stoked for her because, you know, she always tells me that I've been an inspiration to her because she sees that I'm, you know, this is what I want to do in life, like make music my career, and I'm not stopping.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah. I think with social media, just it wears you down with your mental health. And like I said, I think I've just been extremely lucky, and I'm able to just be fully confident in myself and my abilities, my talent, my work ethic, and I just keep going. And I hope that I am inspiring other people. But you know, it is hard because I feel like people tell me that I'm such an inspiration to them, and I'm just kind of like, why? I don't know why. I feel like, you know, some of them, I feel like they're kicking ass like more than I am, but I mean, I'll take it.
I would just a little pat on the back, and honestly, to give women credit where credit is due, all John McLucas has to do is literally throw some shit in his hair, put on a t-shirt with fucking pineapples or birds on it, and he's ready for the camera. Like, you know, like, because we're expected to do all this
Yeah.
stuff, it's like way harder for us. You
Yeah.
know, like,
It's yeah, no, we definitely have to do a
a
lot
little,
more work.
a little bit. You have to work that much harder. So, and it's so take that, you know, just like it's we have a little bit more to we shouldn't, right? We shouldn't have that much more to
Well,
prove.
we shouldn't
Yeah,
care,
we shouldn't care,
but
but like it's societally, like it's inside of us. It's like,
yeah,
oh, I have to do, you know, I have to do this or else I'm gonna look like shit, you know,
yeah,
and like I'm gonna like just people are gonna be like, oh, and I feel like just fuck that, but it's so like in me, you know, like it's so annoying. But anyway, I'm glad you shared that because social media is it's it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
yes, yeah, and I love social media, but um, I mean, definitely when I started, um, I guess started really like going like honing in on my social media and really focusing on that. I was, you know, keeping obviously things private. I wasn't sharing
Yeah.
my breakup. I wasn't sharing that I went through depression. I wasn't sharing that I have anxiety. You know, like people don't want to see that. Um, it was after I had gotten out of that depressional state, which, by the way, I will say, depression is not something that you overcome. I still go through depression. It's a battle, and you just it's not like I just got rid of it and it's not there anymore. It's always, I think it's always going to be in me, but I just have to remember to live in the light, which is something that I you know, still strive to do every day. But I do want to say that because it's not like depression disappeared and I'm like magically repaired. No, that's not true.
It's a
Well, after I got out of that state of mind, that's when I started sharing, um, you know, what I was going through. And I think the first post that I posted from kind of like my mini hiatus during that time was a song by Tori Kelly.
mm,
It was her intro on the album that I can't think of. And I think the song's just called Intro. I just did a cover of it, and it was just a cappella, and then I wrote a whole description, and I think it's posted on Instagram. I know it's for sure on Facebook. I just posted everything that I was going through and why I was gone and why I wasn't active on social media for a while. And then, yeah, of course, you know, people were responding to that and just wishing me, you know, a good recovery mentally. So, um, that's when I actually started really paying attention to lyrics too, with music. What are the other artists were saying, and music really, it sounds so cliche, but I feel like music really did save my life. And I was just paying attention to what my favorite artists were saying and knowing that they were going through the same thing. I mean, Katy Perry has, I even did a cover of it. It was Katy Perry has a song, By the Grace of God. That song saved her life. And yeah, I remember listening to that and covering it. And I was like, I know exactly what you were going through. So that's why I love music so much, is that, artists, when they are able to or want to be vulnerable with their fans, I think it helps their fans, because they're knowing that, someone that looks like they have their life so put together on their social media, and then listening to their music and their lyrics, like it's like, oh wait, they are humans. They are actually like us, right?
Stars, they're just like us.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's so that perspective, that is something that I just only realized, is that you think that people don't want to hear your bullshit, like your issues and things, but how many times, like, you go on social media and you're just like, I feel like I'm alone because everyone's posting the best of the best of the best.
Yep.
And it's like, we got to show people our B-roll, yeah. Like, we have to show like that's like I feel like that's like the new spirit now, is that I don't want to see. That's a lot of times I'm not on social media is because I don't want to see like all the good things, because I'm struggling. It's like I want to see like some people like throwing up, not like, I want to see
right.
like verbally, obviously, like this.
Right.
I want to see people like going through it, and then it's so rare when I do, and it's like, okay, like I know I feel connected to whoever it is, and I of course, Mick Lucas, like I don't feel like I love him, but I don't feel connected most of the time, because a lot of the times he's just like doing like his content is not directed towards me, and it's like, right. It's so perfect, and it's so like, it's so packaged, and it's like, that's not what I'm like. Of course that works for his audience and it's working for him, but like for me, I feel like, and for like people that I am trying to reach, and for the people that I'm writing for, I feel like vulnerability is the new black. So I just thought of that, right? Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think there are like some like influencers out there that are trying to like balance their sponsored posts with being vulnerable and being truthful about, what they go through. I think it's honestly been just within the past year that some artists have come out saying that they deal with depression and anxiety. And I think that it's just like, I feel like a lot of artists go through it, and it's just because we are artists. Like, we're just emotional. I don't even know like what, like some people tell me that I'm like way too emotional. And then now when people say that to me, I'm just like, well, yeah, I'm just an artist. Like, I'm a creative mind. And, I'm constantly analyzing like everything now. I have to be aware. And I am very in tune with my emotions. And that honestly, I think just really started happening after I went through that time in my life. I'm very, very in tune with my emotions, and I'm very fully aware of what's going on and what triggers things now, because that's the only way for me to try to get it under wraps, so that it doesn't explode into that dark space again.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with the words that we use to describe, like in our because I say this a lot on my podcast, is that our thoughts are basically just sentences, you know, and those words as lyricists especially, we have to evoke meaning. We have to evoke a feeling, you know, and so we're using and we're living those words, and it's like, so we're just basically manufacturing all these emotions inside, you know, whether they're beneficial or not, you know, and they're good for the art, but they're not necessarily good for day to day, you know. Right. You know, like, tone it down.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
I can't.
I can't. It's not happening. You know. So that is another thing that we have to contend with, and I'm so glad that you kind of brought that up. And I wanted to ask, I guess, from your perspective, because it's all of us, you know, a lot of us listening and watching now are artists and lyricists and creative types. What do you see as the biggest pain point for mental health in the entertainment and creative industries and music industries? Because what I just think that a lot of times we all can get lost. It's not just you and me, you know.
Right. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, I think it's really the numbers as far as like the pain point, like the, you know, streaming numbers or numbers of downloads. I think it's just the numbers in general.
Yeah, the
like
numbers.
Social media numbers, engagement numbers, whatever. At least that's definitely, for me personally, that's always been a struggle for me. And when I like really like analyze everything and get really down on myself is when I'm thinking about all that stuff, or I'm looking at other artists that maybe on my level, same genre-ish type thing, you know. A female is obviously, like, if I'm looking specifically at a female artist, that's in my genre, and then I'm just comparing our numbers. That's what gets me down and really makes me just kind of want to like quit type of thing.
Because your identity is, you know, is in the is very rooted, you know, in the music, and when your music is not doing well, you're not doing well,
right?
You know?
And you're just like, well, why didn't they connect with my song? But then maybe that other artist has a similar concept or like topic and for their song as yours, and then they're like, wait, this has more numbers. And then so I think the number game with everything, and then especially obviously with social media nowadays, is really tough on artists. And I think that really like discourages them. As far as the industry, I don't think it's going to change. Like, I don't think numbers are ever going to disappear as far as to, I don't know, help artists not look at their career as a horrible career. But yeah, I don't know.
It's hard. Sorry. It's my hardest question. I do know that that is one of the biggest things for me, and I'm just starting, you know, like I did release like an album I did release an EP last year, but I didn't really do anything with it. And it sucked because it was really defined me, you know. It was like my first thing, you know, at like age, like I was 25 last year and I released it, and like it was like, well, finally, because I had all of these like these people saying like, you need to release something, because I've been a songwriter since I was like 18, and I was always like, you know, like just writing things and singing and, you know, like, people would see me like live all the time. They're like, well, when are you like releasing stuff? And I'm like, well, when I'm ready. And then I was ready, and then I guess I wasn't, and then so I thought that, when I saw the numbers, and I'm like, I didn't really do anything with this. And that kind of like put a nail, like,
yeah.
I feel like in my confidence.
Yeah. Well, actually, you just brought up another thing that I think is something like a pain point, is the age. That, that's numbers game too. Yeah.
Those are
I don't
numbers.
like to tell people what my age is, because the entertainment industry as a whole has always kind of put down, people that are older, that aren't in their teens. So I don't like to talk about my age. And I think that's, and that's something that really like discourages people. And then especially just talking with, like random people that aren't in the entertainment industry, and then they're looking at you and asking like, how old are you? And then you're telling them that you're, aspiring musician or whatever it may be, aspiring actor. And then they're kind of like, wait, you're this old and you're still like trying to pursue. I think that's extremely I think
Get
that's
a job.
extremely lame. I am 30 years old. I just turned 30 this year.
Girl slay. You got it.
Thanks. I definitely don't feel 30, and I think that is the most important thing when it comes to the whole age thing. I don't feel 30. I don't think I look 30.
No, not at all. No.
I feel really great, and I have found my self-confidence in my late 20s going into 30s. So I think it's a win for the industry to have artists, even new artists, come to light in a mainstream form at my age.
Yes.
I definitely think so. Male or female, it really doesn't matter. Like it shouldn't matter. It just shouldn't matter, period. I don't know what else
matter with
to
Willie
say.
Nelson,
and like I know that, there's an artist recently, Bibi Rexha. She just made a song about, because she just turned 30, and some music executive kind of like put her down for being 30, and she's kind of just now breaking into the mainstream world. So yeah, she was extremely pissed, and I was really mad when I saw what the guy said, and I think it's just really lame. I think age really isn't anything but a number.
Yeah.
And I think anyone should be allowed to be in the mainstream world if you're older than 12.
Right? Like, okay, like Billie Eilish and Lorde are like, they're anomalies, you know what I'm saying? And then, but that people make it like, that's you have, if you haven't popped by 16, you're never going to. And that's so false, because it's like, and I bet that guy was like 60-year-old man and white. And it's like, okay, well, are you retiring soon? Like, how come you haven't popped yet?
Right. I think, what sucks though, is that I feel like the movie industry is trying to make moves to change, and not just ageism, but like other things in general. And I feel like the music industry, for some reason, there's something about the music industry that I feel like won't ever change their thinking when it comes to that. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. People always say that this is the hardest industry to be in, even over the movie industry, even over the fashion industry. For some reason, I've always heard from people that aren't even in the entertainment industry, period, that the music industry is a crazy world and that it is extremely difficult. And I feel like, yeah, their mindsets over at those labels, like, I don't know what they're doing, what they're thinking, why they're thinking this way. Unfortunately, I don't even know if that's ever going to change with the age.
I think it could if we all start popping
I think it could.
that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's the
okay,
thing is that, I'm glad that Bebe Rexha, said something. Taylor Swift backed her up on that. So I'm hoping that it does. But I just don't, that's something that I will never understand. If I feel like I can perform at a level and still be relatable to a younger audience than my age, I definitely think I can.
yeah.
Um, and I just don't really understand. I will never understand that.
It's labels, and they're this is the old industry. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so a lot of times, like that's like kind of like just like that dying gasp of like old shit. And I think it's moving into the new way. Of course there's going to be young people, and of course there's going to be old people, and maybe young is just not the demographic. Like we all have our audience, and we can't just be
Yeah.
forcing ourselves on so on we can't just be forcing ourselves on a certain population. And that's what the labels is mostly one size fits all, because
Yeah.
that's you can throw money at one size fits all. You know,
Right.
you can't extra work is not in their wheelhouse, like the extra mental work. And I think
Right.
if we're willing to do that, then we can take that over, you know. And we don't, and you see there's so many people not having labels and being super super successful, so it's like
For
I think
sure.
they're realizing that we don't need them,
Yeah.
you know?
And
So
I think that obviously scares them too,
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, my ultimate goal was always like, oh, I need to be signed. That's because that's how I'm gonna get my career, right? But
yeah, it's
it's
not
not
true.
anymore.
Yeah, it's not like maybe to have like, you know, like stadiums, but like, you know, like you can get to a point where someone is going to want to be interested in you by yourself. You know, you don't need that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know we took a long time on that, but I'm so glad. Like,
I know, sorry. It took me a while to think about that one.
it's okay. No. It's like we did. We were hashing it through. Um, I'm starting to. It's so good that we were talking about age, because I'm starting to think in terms of vision and legacy lately. So I want to know what is your vision for the future? What
Oh,
impact are you seeking to make through music and your message?
there's actually a couple things that I would like to leave behind, I guess, with my career. And one of them actually has to deal with the fact that, the goal is not to be signed anymore.
Hmm.
I've always wanted to, the real reason, well, I love obviously music, singing, performing, but the real reason that I've always wanted my career is because I want to create jobs for my friends and even like my cousins, my family members that have always had an interest in the entertainment industry, whether it's stage production, graphic design, for merch. Like I just have, a lot of friends and family that they're creative minds as well. And I've always wanted my career so I can give them a career and we can all do it together. So that's actually one reason why I'm very picky about my friends as well, and who I work with, is because I'm ultimately thinking in the end who's going to be on my team when it's time to go, like
Big, big
the
time.
big
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Um, so with that being said, one of the legacies that I would like to leave behind is that you can make your dreams come true. That's something that I was taught at a very young age, especially by my grandpa, who actually just passed in March. But he was a lover of music, and he always supported me. And he is like the definition of someone who YOLO'd in life and made his dreams come true. He came from the Philippines. Well, he was actually an orphan at a young age, and then he moved to the States from the Philippines and built
Whoa.
everything. He created, he was a dentist, so he brought over like the Filipino Dental Society in the States and all that stuff. So he's someone that I've always looked up to because he's just made his dreams come true from nothing. And that's something that I want to show people, is that you can really do this on your own. You don't need anyone else. You just really have to find that work ethic in you. You have to find that confidence in you, and um, you just got to know that you can freaking kill life. Like, you can freaking do this. And I don't know, I wish I could, give someone something so that they have that in themselves, but you truly do have to find it within yourselves. And I think going through hardships, as hard as they really are, it hopefully motivates you to get out of there and just, really puts your life into perspective. So that's something that, I really just want my audience to know and or learn from, is that anything is possible, really is. Another thing that I would like to, or hope to, leave behind is that it is okay to be emotional and vulnerable, and your life doesn't have to be picture perfect. That is not real. I know I have friends that make their lives seem like it's picture perfect, and it's really annoying and makes me want to throw up. And that was another reason as to why I really am trying to showcase both sides of me. I am a very positive person, but I will always have to deal with my anxiety and depression. And when I am feeling low, I am not afraid to share that anymore. So I just really I hope that other people, just learn that it's okay. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to cry. It's really not that big of a deal. And because I think just society in general, like when they see someone crying, they're just like, oh my God, like what's going on? Like, they don't get it, but it's okay. Like sometimes I just cry like for no reason. And I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Like sometimes you just have to let it out. And that's something that I hope people like learn to do, like, or learn that it's okay to be emotional and vulnerable.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I'm now an audience member, so message received. Number one. I love just that you said, first of all, I'm sure your grandpa would be absolutely just over the moon to see what you're doing, and that you found that you released, or he knows that you released something, but but that you have this legacy drive, and to employ basically like your friends and family. That's like, everyone's usually like in it for themselves, I think, or just like, oh, they don't have that. And so I am really so glad that you have such a vision for that, and you delivered on that question. You didn't need to have it prepared. It was done. So one more thing, I don't want to take too much more of your time. My end signature question is, how have you created beautiful things in 2019 so far, and what are your plans to continue to create beautiful things?
So I just, in the beginning of this year, I released the last 3 singles from the EP that I made with McLucas and Jen last year. So I released Glutton and then Type Race, which is like a quirky dark pop single. And then I just released 1445, which does tell my story from the last 2 years. And that video just dropped this past week. I'm starting my new podcast, Sound Scrub, launches next Wednesday, which I'm so excited about. This is like a year in the making. And
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, we started it last year actually, and it was just with my songs. But I did episodes with Nick Lucas and Jen, and we broke down my songs. But Sound Scrub is a place where I get to dissect other artists' songs with the artist and sometimes the producer. But we get to talk about the songwriting, what the lyrics are about songs, about how the production came to life, why they chose specific sounds. We break down everything, and it's been so much fun so far. So I'm very excited for it to launch next week. I can't wait to have you on my podcast.
I'm so excited.
Well,
That's such a good idea.
and learn about Wording Label. So it's just been great. I've been meeting new artists, and it's really cool learning everyone's songwriting process, what gets them in that headspace and what inspires them. So I've been having so much fun doing that. So I hope to continue that. I do have plans of how I would like to expand Sound Scrub. But I want to, see how this goes first. And how people take it.
No, take your time. Yeah. I had Mind Made Wrong in the pocket for like a year. I actually figured out the title for Mind Made Wrong in session with John McLucas, John Made Wrong, because he's like, my body is made wrong, and I guess he was like sick or something, and I don't know if you know Drag Race, but Latrice Royale, there's like a meme of her going BMW body made wrong, and I was like, sometimes I feel like my mind was made wrong, and then we were like,
oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, but that was like last year in 2018 when we were recording. So,
yeah.
And I started this podcast in May of this year. So it's fine. Like, take your time.
Yeah, I definitely had to take my time and make sure like this is something that I wanted to do. And then, once I started, I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. So yeah, and then, I do have like plans of how I would like to expand. But I am also working on doing alternate versions of my singles that have been released starting last year and then through this year. So I'm hoping to release that before the end of the year, and then working on new stuff.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
New songs, writing new songs. So I'm excited to end this year. I'm excited to see where 2020 goes. And then obviously hoping for much more success and opportunities to come in. But yeah.
Girl, you're going to create it. I'm going to watch. I'm going to be like, oh, okay. All right. No, I'm so excited too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell everyone so we can watch along with me, your success and your new releases and your Sound Scrub and all of that. Remind us where we can find you again, because we probably already forgotten.
Yeah. So everything is on my website, lisadanae.com, lisadanae.com, and then all of my social media handles, so Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, is Lisa Danaë Music. And then, of course, I'm on iTunes and Spotify.
Yes.
And all that jazz.
All those shenanigans. And the podcast.
Yes.
Because this episode will be airing after your podcast, like basically pretty much the Friday right after your podcast starts. So it's perfectly timed. Who would have thought? So Sound Scrub. It's called Sound Scrub, and we can find it on anywhere, probably like
on Apple Podcasts and then Google and Spotify.
So all the basics.
The majors.
The majors. That's where you want to find it anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I am just so glad. Like, this is like because Mick Lucas, like I texted him like months ago, like, hey, do you have like, you were like awesome on the podcast. Do you have any like others, And he was like, yeah, Lisa Danaë is top of mind right now. I'll get you some others. And then like, I just like, I'm a slacker. I don't know.
No, that's okay.
I take time.
I'm so excited. Or I was really honored to be asked. So
I'm so glad. Yeah, you are episode 21, I believe, if all goes correct. So
yeah,
it's gonna be so hard. Thank you so much. You were absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Just I'm blessed. We are blessed. All right. Well, thank you, my beautiful creators, for joining me and the lovely Lisa Danaë here on Mind Made Wrong, wherever you're listening. And if you're watching us on the lovely YouTube, please subscribe if you have not already, and give it a like and hit that little tiny bell and go subscribe to Lisa. Lisa Danaë music on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just down in the description box. Don't slack like me. Rush. Walk, don't run. All right. Bye.
Bye.